All right. What's going on, everybody? Give it a minute or two. This was kind of impromptu. I wasn't planning on going live, but a lot of people are stressing out, right? Especially after the news that was shared a little while ago. That Kazumo Okamoto from Japan is heading to the Blue Jays. 4-year deal looks like $60 million, so $15 million per year. So, and then obviously Tetsuya Mai went to the Houston Astros on a 3-year deal. Consigliere, he is. What's happening, my man? Kyle, Aiden, what is going on, everybody? What is going on? So, Steels, here he is, brother. What's going on? I just texted you. Man. We were just texting back and forth a little bit. I left you a voice message. Just got in the door. I decided to go live really quickly here before I have to get back to work. And but I want to chat about this a little bit, right? Consigliere, you're a beast. Appreciate you being in the family, man. Again, Kazumo Okamoto to the Blue Jays, 4 years, $60 million. Happy New Year to all of you as well. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday too. All right, now let's get. I understand there's some fans that are freaking out. There's some fans that are disappointed. I get it. There's some content creators that are just all but flipping out, hysterical. But and again, let's go over this. What difference makers of a significant nature have gone to other teams, even at the Blue Jays? All right, thank you so much, Consigliere. I appreciate the kind generosity. Happy New Year too, brother. Really appreciate you, man. The Blue Jays got Dylan Cease, very unpredictable pitcher. He's likely going to replace Chris Bassett. They also got Kazumo Okamoto today. Now, speaking from just hear me out here, Okamoto likely takes them out of the Kyle Tucker market because of the crowded outfield that they have, right? And Tetsuya Mai is headed to the Houston Astros on a 3-year deal. What I did not know until after fact was that the majority of MLB talent evaluators and scouts were not high on him and his ability to translate well to the majors. And there's a reason why he didn't get the deal he got. His market was so much smaller, and that seems to be a big reason why. That I did not know until after the fact. So, which could very well be the reason why the Yankees didn't get him, right? Or the Mets, or the Phillies, or a lot of other teams that people are talking about. So, and when there's a consensus like that around major leagues, there tends to be a consistency across the board, right? And again, he's likely going to replace Framber Valdez in Houston. So, and well, let's positionally speaking, the Yankees, they did the obvious move so far, right? They brought back Rosario, Yarbrough, Blackburn, Tim Hill, and blah, blah. Keep in mind, last year they started third base with Yorbit Vivas and Oswald Peraza. This year they're going to start Ryan McMahon and Emer Rosario. So they are 2 steps ahead on third base. Bullpen, they added 3 guys at the deadline, always would have controllable years. I still expect them to add a significant piece. And my guess is going to be the trade route because the free agent prices were ridiculously high. And again, I'm keeping an eye on Kyle Tucker here too. Because of the inconsistent nature of the Bellinger negotiations and the market being as it is right now, and there's obviously a threat of a strike, and it's being talked about a year in advance. So that's not an encouraging sign, right? Or a lockout or whatever you call it. But if they can get Tucker either on a 6-year deal or like just say they give him a 3-year deal with an opt-out after big dollars, give him an opt-out after 2 years so he can come back and on the market again at age 30. Maybe that'll be heavy, Tiffany. How are you? So I don't really give a damn what Jack Curry says, Eric. Okay, he doesn't work for the Yankees, does he? It's not discrediting him. Right? I said I'm going to listen to Brian Cashman and watch what he does instead of beat writers. That's not discrediting that Jack Curry. Right? We don't know if they could have. Oh, come on. We don't know. We don't know. And he got 4 years, 15 million per. His market was bigger than Munetaka Murakami. Right? So I wouldn't say he doesn't care the Yanks win. How much money? What major target of the Yankees has signed elsewhere? What major target? Right about the entire offseason. What moves have the Yankees made that he talked about? None of them. So what has he been right about? I don't really care. I don't care what Jack Curry says. I don't care. Okay. He also said the Yankees were going to get Yamamoto. It was wrong. Even beat writers can be wrong. Even highly respected beat writers like Jack Curry. That's why I say it and I'll say it again. I listen to what Brian Cashman says and watch what he does. I learn more from Cashman than I do from beat writers. People can echo beat writers all they want. People mention the beat writers Jack Curry's 20 times in their videos. Good for them. Good for them. Right? And I don't know if Amaya and Okamoto were big misses. Like I said, we didn't know until about an hour after he signed with the Astros that his market was minute. And then the majority of MLB did not view him highly. So I don't know if he's a big. He's got opt-outs after every single year in his contract. So if he translates well, my guess is he'll cash in, and he'll opt out, and he'll have more teams going after him for big dollars. So we don't know if he's a big miss yet. He's got to perform to justify that. Okamoto, we don't know either. And I viewed him more highly than Murakami. I would have liked him too because of his positional versatility, but he's going to the Blue Jays. And like I said, that very likely takes them out of the Kyle Tucker market. Okay. So I want to just incorporate a level of perspective on this, right? They were in on Amai, Eric Claret, okay? They followed him all off season, okay? They weren't in on Amai. I don't care what Jack Curry says. Just because they didn't sign him doesn't mean they weren't in on him. I don't know, Sherry. We'll see what the Jays do. I think Okamoto takes them out of the Tucker market. Because where are you going to play Tucker? Their outfield's crowded. And what do you mean embarrassing themselves, Steels? Like who's worth right now the overpay? Yeah, the Astros did prefer by. And I guess, and they prefer him over Framber Valdez. That's kind of an indictment on Framber Valdez, too. So, it doesn't matter that he made them. What real moves are you talking about, Iron Bob? Flashy moves are not the only moves that count. They're not the only moves that are real moves. Right? Has anybody signed Kyle Tucker? No. Bellinger? No. Yankees have an offer out to Bellinger. Yes, we know that. But there's 6 weeks left in the offseason. Why are people throwing in the white flag yet? I'm just curious. How the offseason's been mismanaged, Beagle. I'm curious. Please enlighten me. I'm curious. Same to you, Kenneth. Happy New Year and your family too, brother. God bless you. And again, right? Who's mad, Kerry? Who's mad? I'm not mad. Oh, let them boo Hal. Let them boo him. Good for them. Hal says he'd like to cut payroll for the last several years, and he hasn't cut payroll. Okay. And he did say it would be ideal to cut payroll, but it's very unlikely it was going to happen. He did say that too. Let's not omit that part. Okay. I watched Hal say that. Some of these moves are unpredictable moves this offseason so far. Who would have thought? I definitely wouldn't thought Imai was going to go to Houston. No, heck no. Of course the Yankee move is flipping out. Yankee world's flipping out. Yeah. There's 6 weeks left. 6 weeks left. What big moves have the Red Sox made? Trading for Sonny Gray? That's not a big move. Right? Yeah, Hal didn't want to take over. That's right. It was pushed on him. And again, Hal also did not have a shipping industry to finance the Yankees for him. George did have that. So George had a whole industry financing the Yankees for him. Hal did not. And Hal's got to share proceeds of the franchise with multiple partners that he has to answer to too. Right? Let's say Cole didn't get a 3 years extension. They just honored the rest of the contract they had with Cole. His contract ends still the same time it did before. Well, I don't disagree with that. They'll pivot. But again, they're not going to pivot just reactively just because other teams are making overpays or doing other things. Right? They're going to do what's right for the team. Again, like, yes, do I think they need to add a starting pitcher? Yes. Do I think they need a reliever? Yes. A righty bat? Yes. But I don't really buy the let's replace Jazz with Bo Bichette. That is not an upgrade. Okay. If I'm trading Jazz, I want pitching back, and I'm replacing him with Brendan Donovan, who's better than Bo Bichette. Okay. That's the guy I would want to replace Jazz. He could also provide a leadoff hitter. He's a lefty. He's a contact guy with a low strikeout rate. He plays good defense. He's better than Bo Bichette. Yes, he's not a 30-30 man like Jazz is, but neither is Bichette. Right? So, we'll see. I think Spencer Jones is going to get a legitimate chance. So, just to put it in perspective here, Sherry, let's pull this up. Okay. Here we go. Their outfield is George Springer. By the way, they have Clement and Addison Barger at third base. So Okamoto's not taking full reps at third base. And they've got Schneider. They got Dalton Varsho in the outfield. Santander, who they just gave a big contract to. So where is Tucker going to play? Where is he going to play? Miles Straw. This is right from the Blue Jays roster I'm looking at. Right? All those players are still here with the Blue Jays. So he wouldn't have a spot to play. Kyle Tucker, unfortunately. Well, I appreciate that, John. Again, like, I don't need to be right. Okay, and I'm not always right, but I think it's important to be accurate. Okay? So who's mad, Kerry? You keep asking who's mad. Who's mad? Not necessarily. If he signed with the Yankees, okay. They would have checked one box, but he didn't sign with the Yankees. I'm over it. There's no need to have tantrums about it. Maybe the Yankees have a different plan. We don't know. Right? And they never leak information. Which leads to a lot of speculation, a lot of talking points from people, right? People like to listen to the beat writers and the other people on X and YouTube and so on and so forth. No. Well, who we missed out on, Beagle? That was a target for the Yankees. Who we missed out on? Yeah, McMahon has 2 more years on his contract. And that's not really, yeah, that's he stabilized the entire infield defense, right? Well, what teams are getting better? I mean, what difference makers have the Blue Jays brought on? Well, nobody knows if the Yankees could have gotten him. He had 2 or 3 other offers for longer years in mind, which he turned down because the Astros are the only team that gave him the opt-outs. You know that? No. I didn't say the Yankees had a leak sending info to Boris. Someone else said that. I called him out. Okay? Better get it right, Eric. I called that out. That's not what I said. Someone else said that. Don't try to put words in my mouth, man. It ain't gonna work. I have the receipts. I can show you too that someone else said it. Yankee, yeah, I don't. Bo, I would rather have. I would rather have Brendan Donovan over Bo. I don't know if he's RC. I don't know if they're out on Bichette now yet. I don't know. Don't know. But this very likely takes them out of the Kyle Tucker market because their outfield's very crowded. The only way I'm moving Jazz is if we're getting pitching in return, controllable pitching. But again, I'd rather keep Jazz. But if they don't plan on extending him after this year, then they have to consider that. But I don't think it makes sense to replace him with Bo Bichette. I'd rather replace him with somebody like Brendan Donovan. Now, I don't think they could trade him for Brendan Donovan directly because the Cardinals, I don't think, need a second baseman. Again, the Cardinals looking to shed payroll, not add payroll. So Yankees checked in on Bichette. They told Scott Boras directly that if he keeps dragging his feet on the Bellinger contract, and they're the only team right now that we know has an offer on Bichette. I mean, that has an offer on Bellinger. They told Boras that if he keeps dragging his feet on Bellinger, they're going to move to Bichette. Now, I don't know what Boras is going to do, but they have made that clear. I don't see the Yankees making panic moves either. I know the Yankees, a lot of Yankee fans want them to do it, and I get it, but they don't do that. Right? No. We don't know they're not doing anything, Lucas. We don't know that. That's your right to do. I mean, if they don't do anything significant, then it's your right to stay home and not go to games. That's totally fine. That's on them. Totally on them. No, they can't trade him until June 15th, Daniel. Now he's allowed. That's part of the MLB rules. You can't trade a player that's accepted a qualifying offer until June 15th. That's in the CBA. And why would they trade Trent Grisham right now? All right. Who's backpedaling here? I don't know, but Peralta McGee, I don't know. It's a good question. We don't really know what they're going to do. No, the Cardinals won't trade Donovan. They're going to trade Donovan for like somebody like Luis Hill. Somebody, you got to give them pitching. They're looking for pitching. Right? They're looking for pitching. Give them a Hill or Warren, maybe another pitching prospect or something like that. They don't need Lombard either. right? Well, I don't disagree, Daniel, but this is his opportunity to get paid and to cash in, right? So they're gonna, Boris is trying to get more years. So I said that also. The Yankees had an offer out to Okamoto. People were asking me who my sources and blah blah blah. People thought I was lying. Joel Sherman said it too. Yes, thank you. I said yes. Yankees did have an offer out to Okamoto. I don't know if they offered him my contract. It's a good question. I don't know. Nick Martinez is a guy we definitely mentioned as an option for the Yankees as well. Yep. Happy New Year to you too, Manuel. I don't know. I think he's going to consider trading. If they don't plan on bringing him back after 2026, then maybe they'll consider it. But that's hard to get that production back from. He's one of the best of second basemen in all of baseball. That's a hard thing to do. So they have to have a plan. You have to know that they could sign somebody or train somebody to replace them. And you got to get good pieces in return to address other areas like pitching that the Yankees would need. So a lot of teams hate deals over 5 years. Has anybody got a deal over 5 years? I don't think so. I think the longest deal so far has been 5, right? Yeah. I don't know where Okamoto's going to get at bats with the Jays either. That's a good question too. The Jays have a crowded roster. Tucker, no idea. No, I had no idea. There's still all these guys are still available. So maybe their offer wasn't as significant as Toronto's offer. But Toronto there's a huge Japanese population in Toronto. So they wanted to make an investment in a Japanese player. But again, paying him is one thing. Is he going to get an opportunity to play? I don't know. But $15 million is a significant amount for this guy who's never played in the majors. So we'll see. I don't know, J Boss. We'll have to wait and see, right? There's a good chance it's going to. If they're talking about it a year in advance, Steven, I think there's more than a fair chance there will be a lockout. I hope not, but you never know. They are not on the same page in terms of collective bargaining and competitive balance and everything. So they are far apart, the owners and the Major League Baseball Players Association. I want to say late May, early June for Cole. Schmidt, not until August. Rodon, probably the first week in May. It depends on what you like. Who are you going to get for Jazz Chisholm, right? 1 year of Jazz Chisholm could be better than several years of another player. And those are things that need to be factored in. So it really depends on what the plan is after Jazz. They have to have secured, right? Like, I don't think they would trade Jazz unless they had another trade lined up already to replace him. So, which is one reason why, in the back of my mind, I have a feeling they're still going to be keeping tabs on Kyle Tucker. Duran. Mm-hmm. If they don't get Bo or Belly, then they'll move on to someone else, Sherry. They will. There's a lot of players that are available in free agency and trades. A lot of players. So something, again, there's 6 weeks left in the offseason. The Yankees are pretty busy on a regular basis in January. So I expect them to make some activity. But it's no trade or signing is really apparent to anybody right now. So we really don't know. And the Kyle Tucker market's smaller than we thought, right? Yeah, I mean, if the price for Tucker comes down, he's 2 years younger than Cody Bellinger, and then they might go there. Especially if you don't want to deal with Scott Boras anymore. My man, if he's in the building, right? I agree. I think this is the month where most of the players should come off the board because after this month, you have what, 2 weeks until spring training? So we're 6 weeks until spring training starts. So I don't know. I I have a hard time seeing the Yankees would trade Jazz Chisholm. So yeah, I mean, I would offer Kyle Tucker a 3-year deal for high dollars and give him an opt out after 2 years if he's willing to take it. 6 weeks starting tomorrow, exactly, Anthony. If you can get Tucker on a 3-year deal and you can get an opt out after 2 years when you come back on the market at 30, might be a smart thing to do. Right? Where are you going to play Bo, Anthony? That's the question. Where are you going to play him? It's something I'm keeping my eye on, Hayden. It's something I'm keeping my eye on, and eye on Tucker. So I want you to show me where the owner says he's not spending any money, Kerry. Please show me where he's not spending any money, where he said that. I know for a fact he didn't say that. Okay. Make a trade for Mike Clevenger. I don't know, Brandon. I think they're gonna go try. I think they're gonna trade for a starting pitcher. I mean, I think they're gonna sign a starting pitcher in free agency to make it easier to trade for a bullpen piece. I'd rather use the bullpen piece for a reliever with controllable years instead of a pitcher with 1 year. Right. Spring training starts like the Valentine's Day weekend, or something like that. No. Well, exactly too. Yeah. I think the owners are keeping that in mind, the lockout. But and Hal at no point said he was not going to spend money. Hmm. Well, it depends on who comes here. But if Bichette comes here, I think he'd bat. It depends on who comes. It really does. The week after the Super Bowl, so okay. Thank you, Anthony. They have to add a starting pitcher. They will. I don't know who, but they will. Billy, I'm not sure. They keep dragging their feet. But again, this week the Yankees told Scott Boras that if he keeps dragging his feet, they're the only team out that has an official offer to Cody Bellinger right now. If he keeps dragging his feet on negotiations, they're going to pivot and move to Bo Bichette. They told Scott Boras that. So that's what we know, right? This is what we know. I would look out for a guy like Nick Martinez. Don't be surprised if they sign somebody like Chris Bassett, right? But I think it's to me. But again, I don't work for the Yankees. It makes more sense to sign a starter in free agency and then trade with some of the people you have for a big reliever with controllable years. The relief pitching has to come through the trade market. Happy New Year, Davey. Let the Cubs get Bo. Bill will be a nice replacement for Tucker. And again, Bassett, you taking him away from Toronto. Give him some innings. So somebody can give him some stability. And again, the Yankees also have a lot of pitchers kind of on. This is the first time the Yankees have had pitchers at a high level in their prospects in their farm at this level, at this amount, number of guys or quantity in a long time. Ben Hess, Bryce Cunningham, guys like Pico Connor they drafted. They've got a lot of guys. Elmer Rodriguez, Carlos LaGrange. LaGrange might get an opportunity to be in a bullpen. He reminds me of Dylan Betances. He's got a big arm. Nick Bassett's probably a 2-year contract. Nick Martinez probably a 1-year contract. Right? Nick Martinez is also a good Swiss Army knife. He could be in a rotation. He can be in the bullpen. So he gives them. Suarez is another one. Is another guy that he comes with a QO, but of all the guys with the qualifying offer that are free agents that are left, Ranger Suarez is probably the only guy I would be willing to go with. We don't know if they could have matched the we don't know if they were given the opportunity to match it. We don't know. But the majority of MLB did not think these guys were going to translate, especially MI. So why give them $15 million? What if they give him $15 million bucks and he came out here and was a bust? Right? That's a risk that I'm not sure hardly any team, aside from the Astros, was willing to take. But there are two other teams, and I don't know who that gave him a 4 or 5 year offer. But they didn't have opt-outs. The Astros deal had opt-outs after every year, which allowed MI to bet on himself if he translates well. If he pitches well this year, my guess is he'll opt out. Astros will give him a QO. That way they'll get some compensation in return, and he'll get a big dollar deal. But we'll see. Chase Hampton, too. He could be another arm for the bullpen as well. Exactly, NFA. Yankees will pivot. It may not be Bo Bichette. Because, again, Bichette right now doesn't have a position to play. I doubt he's going to play left field. Don't be surprised if they go over after someone like Austin Hayes, who punishes lefties, who's a pretty solid player in the outfield. And they could platoon him with Spencer Jones or whatever, right, in the outfield. But with all the people that are available, the Grisham sign accepting the QO is not a bad move. So if you get decent production from him. Right? Well, Cam Schiller has to keep developing, right? Elmer Rodriguez Cruz has to keep developing. The Yankees, but the Yankees have to. A veteran pitcher makes it easier for those guys to continue to develop and not have to throw them to the wolves, right? So they have Caballero right now, and Bichette is not a good defensive shortstop. So send it to me in a private chat, Kerry. There's a link on the right-hand side that says private chat. Send me the link. Where he said it, not some beat writer said he said it. I want to see the video where he said it. Yeah, the Rule 5 guy. Yep. That's a potential big army of Cade Winquist. So, but again, the Yankees have a lot of big arms that could make a difference here. They just have to get the right opportunity. So, and Cam Schiller, I'm excited about him. No idea what the Red Sox offered Bregman, Marion. That I do not know. Yeah, for Bo's solid defense, solid offense, it's offset by his poor defense. I think Ranger Suarez is probably going to go to a team like the Orioles. I could see Framber Valdez going to the Mets, in all honesty, but I could see the Phillies trading for a pitcher too. I don't think the Phillies are just going to let Ranger Suarez walk because they also lose Taijuan Walker as well. I can see them adding a pitcher. They're going to add a righty bat too, Eric, to Cody Bellinger. And Brian Cashman said he wanted to add another righty also. So I expect them to add a righty bat who plays multiple positions. He said specifically he wants to give Hal platoon opportunities. He wants to give Aaron Boone platoon opportunities. So guys can play multiple, positions. Phillies could trade for Peralta. Yeah, let the Mets get Bellinger. If they're willing to give him 6 years, go right ahead. Why would the Angels trade Neto is the question. That's my curiosity. Nothing right now, Clint, on Bo. Just that the Yankees told Scott Boras that if he kept dragging his feet on the Bellinger contract, then they were going to pivot to Bo Bichette. But that's it. Right? How's COVID-19? What does that mean? Gallen, I don't know. He got a QO. I'm not sure they're going to sign like a number 4 pitcher or a number 5 pitcher that has a QO. I'd be surprised. Reed Detmers is a guy that we talked about him. We profiled him. We'll see if Bo resigns. If he does, he does. Right? I'm not sure. I'd be surprised if Bellinger got 6 years from anybody, in all honesty. Well, why would they trade for Jose Ramirez? They don't need a third baseman, Daniel. Quan, maybe, but they don't need a third baseman right now. The Mets could do a wild overpay for Tucker. They lost a lot of offense. I mean, they moved Nimmo, they moved Alonso, they lost McNeil. They lost quite a bit of offense, the Mets. So, there definitely will be pressure to make a splash for sure. I don't know if it's 4 years. If I had to guess, it's probably 4 years of 120 million or something like that. And that would be nice, but yeah, there's no reason for them to trade him. Yeah. Arise, he's a free agent, but where would he play? Right? Where would he play? A year contract? It depends on. Well, sorry about the lineup. The only guy that's not in the lineup now is Bellinger. I don't know what's sorry about the lineup. He's a terrible defensive first baseman, unfortunately. I don't know if he's worth moving Rice off first base to the dish, and then what do you do with Wells? Yeah. Stanton's still one of the strongest guys in baseball. I mean, 77 games this year, he had like 25 home runs. You know? Eugenio Suarez at third base in Boston. If Bregman is out, yeah, that's possible. Yeah. Bo, an 8-year deal? No. No. Per my inside sources. So many people say this all over social media. My sources are telling me, my sources, I have sources who have sources. I don't know what the offer was. Cody Bellinger. It's a good question, Steven. I don't know. I don't know. If you can get 110, 120 games out of Stanton, man, you know, oh yeah, oh yeah. And the Yankees are going to make strategic moves. They're not going to just make moves for the sake of making moves. Like they're not going to be like, oh my God, the Jays got Okamoto. We need to make a move right now. Like if it's not in their docket, then what's the point of making a move just for the sake of making a move, right? They did a lot of the heavy lifting at the deadline too, so there's less moves that they need to actually make now. The moves have to be more strategic, right? I One of the teams that I thought would be a good fit for Bregman is Arizona too. The internet, yeah, man. Why, yeah, this is true. And if I can confirm that NFE did sign with the Rays on a minor league deal. My source is NFE too, so I got sources. Brendan Dunham's talks were real, and again, that could still be revisited. That could still be revisited. He hasn't been moved, right? So Arenado, okay, good. I let Arenado go to the Mets. I don't know if it's 4 or 5 years deal, but the Yankees do have an offer out to Bellinger, and I know they're not going to sit around all year and wait for it. But again, if I'm them, I'm not letting Bellinger dictate what I'm going to do in pitching and everything. They still got to make pitching moves regardless, right? So Bellinger should have nothing to do with pitching moves. They can make a pitching move now. Make a pitching move now. Well, keep in mind too, Max. So the Yankees didn't sign Stanton to that deal. They traded for him. The Marlins signed him to that deal. So, and now the Marlins are paying $10 million a year for the last 2 or 3 years of the Stanton deal, which is good. There's 6 weeks left in the offseason. It's pointless to determine whether this team's a World Series team yet. Pointless. The Jays don't have Tucker. They don't have Bichette either. So we can't say that the Jays are a World Series team just because they brought in Okamoto and Cease. I don't bother making those types of declarations or predictions until the offseason's over. You need to know what other moves they're making. Yeah, high AAV is, yeah, I agree, Joe. Long-term contracts they hamstring teams, man. They hamstring teams. I could be. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do. Where would the Jays play? I mean, where would the Dodgers play Jazz? Well, I mean, you can offer it. That doesn't mean that the team is going to take it. And the player is going to take it. So, right. This is Tucker's opportunity to cash in. So why would he take a short deal? And if he can get a long deal, right? So we'll see. Giolito. There's quite a few guys that are available. Quite a few. So again, that's why I wouldn't throwing in the white flag yet. Right? Do we all agree that the Yankees need to make moves? Yes. Do I think they will? Yes. Will we like them to happen now? Sure. But they're going to be Tucker's to hand to Rockies. And if his sources are telling him, I like it. Nice. Big time, Christopher. Yeah, I'll say, right? There's still 6 weeks left. A lot of baseball news is going to happen. So, what makes me confident they'll make moves? That Brian Cashman said they would. I'm going based off what Cashman told us. I'm also, confident and positive by nature too. Superior mindset, positive state of mind. So better than the other way around. The Devastator's in the building. Alcantara could burn on the question. Yeah, maybe. But they would also cost the prospects that you could go to the Padres and try to get Jeremiah Strata or like one of those guys, Trevor McGill from the Brewers, and so on and so forth. So your sources are good, Consiglietti. What an ass kicking that was. Oh my God. They haven't lost a game like that in like 30 years, which is crazy, Alabama. Whoa. Oh, boy. Well, it doesn't have to happen right now, Albert. There's 6 weeks left in the offseason. Have the Mets made moves? They lost players. Red Sox, right? I didn't say big moves. I said moves. Not every move needs to be a big move. Flashy moves aren't always the best moves. They're not always the best fits, MTA. Right? Why don't you tell Cashman that he's a liar and a loser? Tell him that. I got passed on speed dial, Christopher. Yeah, the dominoes will fall soon. Yeah, they have to. Superior attitude, superior state of mind, that brother. You know that, baby. You know that. Right? Positive energy is contagious. So is negative energy. Right? So is ignorance. It breeds ignorance. So none of those are big moves by the Mets. The Yankees made moves too. They brought in guys. Same amount of moves that the Mets did. None of them were flashy. Just like the Mets, none of them were flashy. The Mets lost Alonso. They lost Nimmo. They lost McNeil. They lost a ton of offense. And they paid Polanco $20 million a year after one good postseason. Oh, my goodness. WBC, I don't know. I'm not sure. That I'm not sure. Starlin Marte. Yeah. Belly bone problem. You never know. You never know, man. Yankees come out of nowhere. They come out of nowhere. Mets also need pitching too. Yeah. Yes, indeed. The whole offense, with the exception of Judge and maybe McMahon, stunk in the postseason. We're not going to base one postseason off of everything else and just discount what happened throughout the entire year, right? There's no evidence that Lombard and there's no evidence that Okamoto's going to hit it either. Right? Never know. The U.S. will win more medals than most everybody else. DK. That's my Winter Olympics predictions. The Australians have a good bobsled team too, so I would watch out for the Australians. Ollie, I always work it out, bro. Always working out, man. I work out 6 days a week. I trained this morning at the gym for 2 hours, man. So, gotta stay fit, gotta stay healthy, right? Gotta do it. I work out 6 days a week, Ollie. Monday through Saturday. Sunday's my off day. I just stretch and I enjoy the gains. Golden Globes, couple weeks, I think. People keep saying about the Yankees. You know what's crazy? The Yankees, people crap on the Yankees offense. The Yankees offense, despite some of those guys not hitting, they averaged the same amount of runs per game, which was 4, than the Dodgers did. You know what the difference was then? The Dodgers pitching shut everybody down. The Yankees pitching did not. Okay? So people can crap on the Yankees offense all they want. Those are the facts. Those are the numbers. Huh? Yeah, well, they know Bellinger worked. He played well here. He's happy to like him and so on. So I can understand that, but I wouldn't be sitting around letting him dictate what they do on the pitching side. I wouldn't do it. Mm-mm. How many pitching problems does an outfielder solve? 0. How many hitting problems does a pitcher solve? 0. So, right? Just gradual, Ollie. Just be consistent. That's it, man. Be consistent with the training, man. Puerto Rico predictions. I have no idea what that is. No idea. Yankees score whatever the argument is. He scored off the Blue Jays scrubs. Whatever the argument is. The Blue Jays were blowing out teams all year. Why didn't they beat the Dodgers? They shit the bed game 6 and 7. They could have won that World Series, but they shit the bed. Why did that happen? Just the way that it is in baseball. Right. Good for the Jays and Orioles. Yeah, Baltimore has to make moves. They brought in some bats. They need pitching. Maximus, there's 6 weeks left in the offseason. The roster's not going to be the same in 6 weeks. And McMahon is not the problem. He's not the problem here. Right? You can blame you can blame Mike. You can blame a lot of people on the Blue Jays. They lost. They had it and they blew it. Period. It's over. Who's comparing the Yankees to the Dodgers? Who's talking about Dodgers? Nobody. Nobody cares. We're not thinking about the Dodgers. Thinking about the Yankees. How the Yankees get better. Yeah, that's right, brother Bill. They have a third baseman. I don't know about automatic outs, but you're welcome to say whatever you want in this Sarge zone. 2028, yeah. 2028, we're also gonna have the Olympics here. Maybe. Good for them, Carrie. Good for them. Batting 250. It's funny. People want to pay $40 million for Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman doesn't even hit 200 at Yankee Stadium. That's like 360 at Fenway. That's why he went to Boston, right? It's not comparing, I'm saying, but you can use that as an example you want. That's basic math. That's a fact. They averaged the same amount of runs per game than the Dodgers did. Where did the Dodgers shine? Their pitching shut people down. The Yankees pitching did not. Right? That's a fact. Nobody can dispute it. Not with any credibility. Yeah, we know they checked in on Bichette. They did. The Yankees told Scott Boras that if he's dragging his feet on the Bellinger contract because they have an offer out to him, that they're going to move to Bichette. They've already told Boras that. Good for Grisham. Whose stats were better last year, Grisham or Bregman? Grisham by 3 miles. They brought in McMahon to stabilize the defense. He did exactly that. And he was one of the few Yankees to hit a home run in the postseason. Him and Judge. Right? Kind of like what? Scott Brocious, excuse me. Who said they're going to run the same team? Nobody. You keep bringing up this stuff that's not happening, MTA. I never said that running the same team and give them a better chance to win a World Series. Never said that. Nobody's saying that. Internal, I agree with Brian Cashman when he said they need to import somebody for the bullpen. They need to have another option. I think the trade route's going to happen for that piece. I don't care about Bregman's career. I can say whatever I want, Eric. Bregman's career at Yankee Stadium, he bats under 200. Career. Okay? Bregman was only been with the Red Sox for 1 year. Grisham with the Yankees. Okay? I don't care about Alex Bregman also. He's also part of the Astros cheating scandal. So I would take Grisham over Bregman any day of the week. I would take McMahon over Bregman any day of the week. Right? I can. You can. I like the one that we have here now. I don't want Bregman here. Never did. Bregman's not a fit here. Let him stay in Boston. Murderers Rose in the building. Right. I'll have fun when a third baseman hits 212. Yeah. I'd rather have that than a third baseman who's a cheater and lied about it on TV. So I'll have fun with Ryan McMahon. Yep. Well, look, I mean, Yankees they started the season with 3 pitchers on the IL, right? Cole's going to miss the year. He'll miss the chunk of the year. Then Schmidt wound up missing a chunk of the year too. So and Rodon missed time too. So they had Cookie Carrasco and Marcus Stroman there. Would put and a lot of underperforming starting pitching put a lot of stress on the bullpen, right? Overused the bullpen, right? So this year the Yankees are going to get off to a better start because they have better bullpen depth. They're going to have a little bit better depth in the rotation too, and they have guys coming back. They weren't coming back last year. So, right? Yeah, dude, Eric, dude, come on the screen right now. You want the link? Come on the screen. I never said the Yankees didn't have any cheaters. I said Alex Bregman is a cheater. Nothing you say changes that. Nothing. He's a cheater. He lied about it. Period. I never once did I say the Yankees never had cheaters. Never once. And yeah, I am better than that. Because I wouldn't say that. But I am confident when I say I would take McMahon over Bregman any day of the week. Right? Devin Williams didn't turn out to be the guy that we needed, right? Is what it is. Is what it is. Andy, who's Andy? Who's talking? Who's Andy? Who's talking about Andy? Alex Bregman is a big fat cheater. He lied about it on TV. Okay, Pettit owned up to it. Owned up to it. Took his punishment, and isn't going to the Hall of Fame because of it. Bregman never owned up to it. So let's not, dude. Come on the screen, Eric. Let's talk about this. You want to go back and forth with me? They did lead the MLB in most hitting categories. Yeah. They're off to a better start in certain positions. McMahon and Rosario is much better starting point at third base than Yorbit Vivas and Oswald Peraza was. All right. I'm waiting for the entire offseason to end before I do any of that stuff, Murderers Row. There's still 6 weeks in the offseason left. Call the Yankees out for what? Right? Nobody's overpaying for these big players. Nobody's giving 8-year, 10-year deals. Nobody. So what am I going to call the Yankees out for doing something that no one else is doing? Right? I personally, I would sign a free agent starting pitcher. That way they can use their money to trade for a relief pitcher with controllable years. You know, he played on the Blue Jays. Kudos to Scott Boras. He got the Blue Jays for a massive overpay on Dylan Cease. Good for him. McMahon is a great fit. You know, let's see what he does with a full year here. Right? Yeah, this is why I talk about if you're gonna somehow move on from Jazz Chisholm, I would rather replace him with somebody like Brendan Donovan, who's a pure contact hitter. Bo Bichette is not. Right? Yeah. Warren did have better numbers than Cease. Cease had a lot of strikeouts, but so what? Good for him. I'm not predicting any rankings right now. because the offseason's not over yet. I highly doubt Cabrera's going to win a starting job over McMahon. He's going to be one of the utility guys if he's not traded. Oswaldo Cabrera. Cabrera is not a defender like McMahon. McMahon is an elite glove. No. Good for Bo Bichette. The batting average. Look at his year. This year hit 290, right? Look at the year before that. Hit worse than Anthony Volpe. The Yankees paid Max Fried a good amount of money, but he also led the American League in wins this year. He won 19 games. Off to a decent start. Mm-hmm. Right? Jazz's offense would be very hard to replace, but he's also one of the best defensive second basemen, too, out there. He's one of the top 5 second basemen in all of baseball. Right? We have to have enough depth to make it to the playoffs healthy. We didn't have that last year. We didn't have the health or the backup depth, which hurt the Yankees in the postseason. Who would I rather have playing shortstop for the Yankees every day? If I had to choose between the two, neither one of them, actually. If you're saying shortstop. Yeah, exactly, NFA. Exactly. People love to just poo-poo on anything that, the Yankees do that's good. Rodon had 18 wins. Fried had 19. They both led 1 and 2 in the American League in wins. But people will find out, they will find a way, NFA, to poo-poo on it. And right? That's my curious question. The more I wonder, are they looking to extend Jazz? We don't know. I don't know. I wish we knew. Well, I don't think they would get Bo first and then trade Jazz. They would trade Jazz first and then go after Bo. Oh, you got that right, NFA. I'm still waiting, DK. I'm not sure Zach Allen's worth bringing in with a qualifying offer for a 4 or 5 spot. I'm not sure. Somebody like Nick Martinez will probably give the same value as Zach Allen, and he's not attached to a QL, and he will be a heck of a lot cheaper. They get Bo. I'm not going to complain, but I'm not going to trade Jazz just to bring in Bo. That's not an upgrade. Would I trade Gill? Question mark. And would I trade Hill? I would trade Hill. Yeah. Who would I trade him for? Brendan Donovan and the Cardinals, or I would try to get him and Jason Dominguez over to the Padres for Jeremiah Estrada, the reliever 4 control years, that big power reliever. Or somehow if you get Mason Miller, you add somebody to that. Yeah. Some people want to put Gil in the Hill in the bullpen too. I see that. Spring predictions? What do you mean spring predictions? Cease massive overpay. Polanco's a huge overpay too. Yes, you got that right, Go Yankee fan. 100%. They told Boris that if he drags his feet for much longer on Bellinger, they're going to move on to Bichette. That reporting is accurate. Yankees themselves. And they didn't say take it or leave it. They said if you keep dragging your feet on these negotiations, we're not moving from our offer. Dominguez, I would move. I would move Dominguez. That was some ludicrous report. Scott Boras called that out. And Bellinger wanted 8 years and 400 million. Even Scott Boras said that was baloney. Even Scott Boras said it was baloney. Yep. Would I love Dominguez? No, I want to trade Dominguez regardless. I want to get a big reliever for him. Big arm, send it to the National League. No, we'll see what happens with Bo. I don't know. Straight up trade with the Rays for Hayes who? Who's Hayes, J. Riff? You mean Austin Hayes? He's a free agent, I think. Austin Hayes is a free agent. They don't need to trade for him. Thankfully. Bo can't field. His defense is going to offset his offense. He's not an upgrade over Jazz Chisholm. If I want a leadoff contact bat, I want Brendan Donovan because he can play the outfield too and the infield. He can play multiple positions. I like his versatility. Quietly not throwing. I don't know. He's unapologetically Jazz. Doesn't get himself in trouble. So, and if the worst that he does is he tweets, right? Whatever you say, Eric. I would be all over Donovan. I know they were in discussions with earlier in this offseason with the Cardinals, so maybe that's still on the back burner. Yeah, stay off social media. I mean, you know. Let's see. Mm, no, nobody's saying he's not immature. Nobody's saying he's not immature, but he's not a cheater like Alex Bregman. If I'm Jazz and I'm Anthony Volpe, if he still gets an opportunity to play here, I don't think he should have anything handed to Volpe. But if I'm either one of them, I'm trying to hit the ball in the gaps as often as I can. You'll run into home runs and use the speed, right? That's what I would do if I were those guys. Utilize their skill set, and that's a better part of their skill set. Use your athleticism, use your speed. Yep. My three, if Bellinger doesn't sign, well, if Bellinger doesn't sign and Tucker's still available, they may bring in Tucker, for all we know. I would wait until the rest of the season. But if they didn't bring in anybody, let's just say they brought in Austin Hayes, I would platoon. He punishes lefties. I would platoon him with Spencer Jones. That's what I would do. Dominguez can't field. And Jones is an elite outfielder. Yeah. That's Jones' advantage over Dominguez. I never heard any reporting saying that Cole didn't want a Japanese player on the team. I never heard that. Yes, I'm encouraged enough because of his contact rate. Despite the K rate, he still puts an OPS over 1,000. He hits 20 doubles, steals 30 bags, hits 35 home runs. Across the board, he's a hitter, despite the K rate. And he puts an elite defense in the outfield. So I'm more confident with Jones than I am with Dominguez. The Yankees didn't sell us the dream on Dominguez. Beat writers did and scouts did, not the Yankees. Scouts did, not the Yankees. Never heard Cashman say that. Any of those guys say that. Boone, none of them. Scouts did. They overhyped him like he was the next Mickey Mantle. And then you had YouTube channels constantly peddling Dominguez. Dominguez this, Dominguez that, the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? Content creators putting out the same narratives, same talking points, and they won't own it now. I remember they were saying everything had to revolve around Dominguez, right? Scouts did the same with Volpe too. I didn't hear the Yankees do that. Scouts did, yeah. Talent evaluators. And I didn't hear anything about Tucker might not be alone playing ball. I haven't heard anything about that. Dominguez, to me, can fetch more value in a trade than he would produce here in the Yankees. A lot of YouTubers say that Dominguez being Yankees Hall of Fame. Yeah, they were saying he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, Dominguez. Yeah, yeah. You never know. You never know, right? Who didn't get a fair opportunity? He had almost 400 at bats this year. He didn't earn the right to start. This is the major leagues. You have to outplay guys to earn playing time. He did not outplay anybody. Look who we had last year. Dominguez. We had Bellinger. We had Grisham and Judge. Who in the world were you going to sit for Dominguez? Right? Volpe got lucky because he had nobody in front of him. Dominguez's problem is that he has a guy with a higher ceiling, right? Knocking on his door, Spencer Jones. Right? Well, the Yankees didn't have anybody who could they replace Volpe with until they traded for Caballero. They finally got somebody now. That's why they're not going to rush Volpe back. If I'm them, if Caballero keeps playing, I'm not playing Volpe. I'm not doing it. Well, Cabby, once he got here, he pretty much started, Steven. He got here at the trade deadline. So they had Peraza for third base, and they traded him at the deadline. He played third base with Yorbat Vivas, right? So I want a different right-handed hitter. I mean, if they bring in Bo, they bring in Bo, but he doesn't have a position to play right now, and he's not better than Jazz Chisholm. So I'm not trading Jazz Chisholm just to make room for Bo Bichette. They bring him in somehow. They bring him in, so that's fine. But if you're gonna move Jazz Chisholm, you got to upgrade from position. Who you gonna upgrade with, right? Who plays? Oh, right field, Judge. Judge ain't moving from right field. Tucker's not better than Judge. Yeah, Tucker will be left field here, which is another reason why I'm not sure Tucker's going to happen either. And I don't really care if they don't bring in Tucker. If they bring back Bellinger, fine. If they don't, then you go for somebody like Austin Hayes and you platoon him with somebody like Spencer Jones, and it won't be much of a drop off offensively. But if they brought Tucker, he'd most likely get left field. Yeah, they're not going to move Judge to accommodate Tucker. No way. They'd be nuts to do that. I don't know. I don't know. But if he came here, that's where he'd play. Judge Double's fine now. I don't know what the offense is going to be yet, John. I'm waiting to see what the roster is going to look like. Can he play center field? Maybe, but not better than Trent Grisham. They moved Judge to accommodate, and Judge was willing to move to accommodate Soto, but Kyle Tucker's not Juan Soto. He won't be doing that again. I have no idea. No, the Yankees have not gotten Bo Bichette. I don't think Bellinger should get 6 years. I mean, Tucker might get 6 years. I'd be shocked if somebody gave him 10. Kyle Tucker. I would be absolutely shocked. Oh. Soto is not a good outfielder. They get Bo Bichette, they'll win the World Series. I don't know about, well, maybe. Blue Jay signing, I mean, where's he going to play is the question. How are they going to find the bats for him? You have a crowded infield and a crowded outfield. I don't know. He doesn't have a place to play. I'm not joking. Where's he going to play, Reggie? Nobody knows what Cashman's going to do. They might sign Tucker to a big deal and give him an opt-out after 2 years. Maybe that's a better option than giving Cody. Well, he's got to be willing to take that is the question, right? They're not going to sit Caballero, who's the American League leader in steals, and he batted like 280 here when he got traded to the Yankees. They're not going to sit that and play him once a week. I don't know. I mean, he's not an upgrade defensively over Bellinger, but the metrics like his swing and his contact rate better than Bellinger. But I mean, neither one of these guys blows me away. Oh, honestly, no concern for Judge's elbow. Have him a starter over Bichette. Bichette's not even here. Okay. They didn't trade for Caballero to have him sit 150 games for some to pay Bo Bichette $30 million a year. Like, think about that. Use your head. Why would you sit the American League leader in steals? Which is why I'm fine if the Yankees bring back Bellinger. We don't know if they're going to sit Caballero. Caballero plays well. He ain't going to sit. He ain't going to sit if he plays well. This is his opportunity to play well. He's never had an opportunity to be a starter. But look, yeah, he could lead off too. He could be a leadoff hitter here. He's American League leader in steals. He's a good base runner. So this is his opportunity. And again, Volpe's going to miss more time than we thought. They already confirmed that the surgery is much more extensive than the MRI showed. I'm not rushing Volpe back. The spot should just be given to him. He's got to win it back. And when Caballero was traded here, he started most of the games. He batted like 280. Right? We need guys like that to wreak havoc on the base paths. We do. This is what I hope Jazz does too. Right? Hit the ball in the gaps. Use your freaking speed. Rosario, get on the bases. Use your speed. Be aggressive on the base paths. Put the pitchers. Make them uncomfortable. Make them pitch differently. Right? Give Aaron Judge an opportunity to hit 3-run home runs instead of solo home runs, or 2-run doubles instead of a double with nobody on base, or whatever. Put the guys on base to give the guys that drive the runs an opportunity to actually drive in runs. Okay? I think Wells needs a right-handed complement at catcher. I do think they're probably going to trade JC Escar. I know they're shopping him. I would shop him for a relief pitcher too, and bring in a righty bat to complement Wells. I think they'll get a right-handed catcher. I don't know who, but we'll see. Right-handed catcher. I mean, I don't know if JT Realmuto is willing to take a platoon role, or something like Jonah Heim. He's a switch hitter, but he got non-tender by the Rangers. There are guys that can come here and provide an opportunity. Backup first baseman. Well, Rosario's going to get reps at first base. You probably get a little bit of Oswaldo Cabrera at first base, and I wouldn't be surprised if TJ Rumfield got an opportunity too. He's got a big bat in AAA. They also signed a couple guys, righty hitting catchers, and infielder, outfielder. The guy was the Mexican League MVP. So his name is Nick Torres, I think, from last week. They signed a bunch of guys with high upside. So yeah, Real Muto would be nice. I don't know if he wants to still be a starter or not. I don't know. Danny Jansen. I don't know if he's available or not. TJ Rumfield. That's a good question. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I doubt Real Muto happens, but because I still think he probably wants to start. But Jonah Heim, I can see being a more viable option. He also said Cabrera wasn't a starter when he came here as the backup. Now he has the opportunity to be the starter. He's also a better defender at shortstop than Bo Bichette. I'm not concerned. I don't get concerned with 6 weeks to go, Murderers Row. I don't live in the talking points universe, the Twitter sphere, the Discord sphere. I don't do it. I wait the entire offseason, and then I make my decision at the end and see what actually did. I can't judge somebody halfway through the alphabet. Half the offseason has not been completed yet. And being patient is not the easiest thing in the world, but it's what I do. So people can overreact all they want, call people fire all they want. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. It's too early to be worried, at least for me. Younger Molina, where does he play, J-Rev? Where does he play? Is it Benji Molina? Benji Molina, right? From Cardinals? Is he related to him? Happy New Year to you too, Chase. Happy New Year. That's what we're hearing, Miguel, that the Yankees are the only team with the offer to Belly. I can't confirm it myself, but that's what we're hearing based on the reports. If they don't improve, well, it depends on what if they don't make flashy moves, if they make moves, but they're not flashy, I don't see the point in calling them out. They're addressing the needs. Not every move. I'm also of the mindset that not every move needs to be a flashy move. Okay, if they don't address these positions, then yeah, I'll call them out. But I am confident they will address these positions. But again, not every move needs to be addressed with a flashy signing. It's not always the best fit, right? Yeah, getting Cole back is a big get for the Yankees. That's a big get. And I understand it's not easy to be patient. I get it. I get it. Elmer Rodriguez will get a shot. I think Carlos Lagrange will get a shot too, most likely in the bullpen. But I still think they need to add somebody, which is why I'm in favor of trading Dominguez and somebody like Warren or Hill and trying to get somebody like Jeremiah Estrada from the Padres. That's a worthwhile trade to me. I doubt it. Once Giancarlo Stanton is no longer here, I think Aaron Judge transitions to the DH. Why would they move Ben Rice off first base? He's 10 years younger than Aaron Judge. I don't know, but I'm not doubting his ability to be an ace. I mean, look at Justin Verlander. He had Tommy John. He came back the next year. He won the Cy Young. So anything's possible, but I'm not banking on it, but anything's possible. What do you mean they should be making bigger moves? What's the bigger move? Right? We don't know. You can bring Bo Bichette here and he'd shit the bed for all we know. And then what are we going to do? We're going to blame Cashman for making the move that everybody asked him to make? Because people don't like to take ownership of that either. Right? Begged him to sign this player, and then the Yankees sign a player. He sucks, and then they blame Brian Cashman for it. I don't see YouTubers owning up to that. People on Twitter owning up to that. Beat writers owning up to that, right? Nobody does. They just blame Cashman, blame Boone, blame Hal. It's the blame game. Nobody wants to take ownership of this stuff. Nobody. That's what I'll call out too. And I'm going to continue to do that. But we don't know what the prices are going to be for these guys too. I'm not trading George Lombard and, Jason Dominguez for 1 year Freddie Peralta. There's no way in the world. I'm not trading George Lombard and Elmer Rodriguez for 1 year Freddie Peralta. No way in the universe. Okay? But I would trade Dominguez and somebody like Will Warren for 4 years of a front-end reliever like Estrada or one of these guys. Trevor McGill, one of these dudes. Send those guys to the National League where you don't have to face them on a regular basis. Get a power reliever here with multiple years. I'd rather trade guys for relievers with several controllable years than a starting pitcher with 1 year. Right? Whatever the Yankees do is what the Yankees do. They are clearly operating on a level of information that's higher than what we have, including myself. I don't work for them. No. If they keep Dominguez, they keep Dominguez, but I think he's better off in a trade. But that's just me. That's just me. I could be wrong, but yeah, Yankee fans were dying for Cashman to sign DJ. I remember that too. Came off a batting title at 360. They're like, oh my God, we got to sign him to this, that, whatever. And they took the extra 2 years to secure a lower AAV, which is exactly what they did with Aaron Hicks, who came off both of their contracts were bargains. But then later on, they got hurt and then turned into an albatross. And all of a sudden, we're blaming Brian Cashman for doing what we asked him to do. Right? Nice, Brother Bill. Nice. Talking points. That's fantastic. Son of Yadier Molina. Okay, cool. Nice. If I'm the Yankees, man, I'm gonna try and draft some more and sign some more international catchers. Need to rebuild our catching pipeline. That's what I hope they do. I hope they do. Warren got thrown to the wolves last year, and he stepped up, man. He stepped up. Well, they got Judge his deal, Reggie. Robinson Cano got popped for juicing, so I'm glad they didn't lock him up. I don't listen to those guys, Miguel. I get no value from listening to those guys. Zero. Learn nothing from them. I agree. If Bellinger comes here or if Tucker, one of these other guys comes, then Mingus is gone. I agree. As it should be. He'd be better off trade somewhere else if he's going to get a bigger opportunity to start somewhere. Well, the players do have to perform. Yeah, just like Imai is going to have to perform with the Astros. Okamoto's going to have to perform with the Blue Jays. Cease going to have to perform with the Blue Jays, right? No updates. Nothing yet. Aside from what we already know. Yeah, I mean, I generally don't like to talk about other channels, but I'll just say I don't disagree with you at all, Hayden. Yeah, we dodged a big bull. You got popped, what, 2 or 3 times with the Mariners and the Mets? I mean, that guy was on his way to a Hall of Fame career, and he unfortunately went the other way, man. I wish it wasn't the case. But he got his ring with the Yankees in 2009. Good for that. And I hope Schlittler takes the next step in his development. I hope Warren does too. If you're banking on upside, then probably Hill's the guy you want to go. But if you're banking on stability and consistency, then Warren. So if teams are going to trade for one of those 2 of those guys, that's what, if I had to guess, that's what they'd be looking for. The position mixing infield and outfield. Infield and outfield, like an Okamoto. So that he could also be a reason why they didn't sign Okamoto, even though they did, like I said, had an offer out to him, which Joel Sherman confirmed. I don't. Well, I'm not even. It's no point in judging the Yankees right now. There's 6 weeks in the offseason left. Last place, that's not going to happen. People say that every year. They're going to be a 4th or 5th place team, and it never happens. They say it every year. Yeah, I mean, look, if they had signed Imai, then my guess is they would have probably tried to move Hill or Warren for either a righty bat or a controllable reliever. But now they don't have that, But I still think they need to add another starting pitcher one way or the other. We need some innings here, reliable innings to take the load off the bullpen. He was part of NYU for a little while, but he separated himself from them. Here we go. He separated himself from them. He does his thing now. He's with Latino Sports, and he does a great job over there. He really is fantastic. Gary Sanchez wouldn't be my first choice, but you never know. You never know. I don't think they're going to sign any of the guys that are attached to QOs, but somebody like Nick Martinez might get an opportunity. So you could probably get him on, or Chris Bassett, you can get him on a 1 or 2 year deal. They can eat innings. They're not attached to QOs, so they're not going to cost draft picks. They're not going to cost $30 million a year like a Framber Valdez or Ranger Suarez. So anybody who can take the load off the bullpen, which is why I like the fact that they brought back Yarbrough and Paul Blackburn, because it gives them long relief options, right? Which serves as a bridge between the rotation and the bullpen. Yeah. But I didn't realize I was here almost 2 hours. Time flies when you're having fun, baby. But let me let you all go. I got some work to do. But I appreciate you all coming on, giving your take. It's been a little while since we've been live. So I wanted to get back with my peoples and get the pulse of the room. I love collaborating with Hector. He comes on, he shares his expertise. He's fantastic. So is his partner in crime, Grace. They're fantastic. They really are. Ask the question. Well, maybe it's because not everybody wants to come to the Yankees, so it's a pointless venture to assume that they always do. But you have to pay higher salary here to higher tax. It's a tougher environment to live in. You're dealing with a mosquito nest in Cincinnati and Colorado. You're dealing with the hornet's nest in New York, right? Reporters, beat writers, fans, everything else. It's a different environment here. You have to have thick skin. But I've never assumed that everybody wants to come to the Yankees. That is a silly assumption to make because not everybody does want to come here. Greg Maddux turned down a lot less money or accepted a lot less money to not come here. Greg Maddux, the Picasso on the mound, one of the best right-handed pitchers ever, took less money to not come here. I haven't collaborated with the Shift in a while, Joey. Exactly, we tell it like it is, whether good or bad. That's the way it should be. We may not always agree, but I'd rather give you the accurate information than not give it to you. I don't do talking points. I don't do narratives. Right? I don't sit here and trash people either from behind the screen when they're not here to defend themselves. Right? I will go on. And now that now that we are kind of getting a little bit more aggressive into the offseason, I'll be live more often. I'm going to go live in a couple days again because I want to go over the bullpen options that could still be feasible for the Yankees. And maybe some people that people aren't thinking about. So that's another one I'm going to go through as well. And I'd love to get your feedback on it, folks. So, but thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate you. And the Yankees are an ultimate place to play, but not for everybody. Not for everybody. People come here, they get eaten alive, they never want to come back, right? You got to have the right fit. You got to be the right fit. You got to have the right mentality. You got to have thick skin. Crybabies don't have thick skin, right? So that's the way it is. Again, I think the pinstripes are the ultimate jersey to play for, but there's more to it than that, right? There really is more to it than that. And people need to feel that way themselves. The Aaron Judge, that guy epitomizes the Yankees. Don Mattingly epitomizes the Yankees. Derek Jeter epitomizes the Yankees, right? The Yankees trade for Peralta. I don't know if I do a big man. I don't really know. It depends on what they give up for Peralta. It really depends. Wussification of Americans, well, it depends on where you lie politically. The wussification of Americans. No. But people who talk a big game behind a screen can't back it up in person. That's wussification. Right? Thank you guys and gals for your time. I appreciate all yous. All your feedback, all your insights. It's what makes this channel better. Right? You're entitled to your opinion. But it's true. It's true. The wussification of Americans, like I said, people talk a big game, but then when they're confronted with reality in person, they can't handle it. Right? There's a lot of YouTubers who do that. They talk a big game, but they'll never back it up in person. Right? It is what it is, unfortunately. But again, to me, I can't speak for everybody else. But Okamoto is in the past now, moving on. Can't change it. Right? I don't know how he's going to get a lot of at-bats with Toronto, but he's very likely taking him out of the Kyle Tucker market. And Kyle Tucker is still an option potentially for the Yankees. Right? Exactly. You're entitled to your own opinion, but not your own facts. Exactly. Facts are facts, like math. It doesn't lie. Right? Exactly, Consigliere. People are entitled to their own facts. They're entitled to feel they want to feel. Right? That's the whole beauty of this thing. That's the whole beauty of this thing. But let me let you all go. Peace and love. I love you guys. You are the best. See y'all next time.